Now we are going to start with a unit that is the food production and management. As you all know that the food which we get in the form of crops or you can say the crops which are meant for producing the food and many other products, that plays a very important role, and that falls under the branch of the science that is the agriculture. So agriculture is the practice of growing plants and rearing animals for food and other items. So that means in agriculture what we do, we plant crops and we also rear animals, and they are fulfilling our needs. So if we talk about crops, like crops are also plants, but the plants when they are grown on large scale, they are called as crops. Plants when they are grown on the large scale, then it is called as crop. For example, if you are planting a plant, suppose a rose plant in a pot, so that is not a crop, that is only a plant. But when you are planting plants on a large scale, then it is called as crops. Now we are going to study about the classification. So we can actually classify crops depending upon different factors, like we can classify depending upon the season which they require for their growth. We can classify based on the agriculture production, that what they are producing and for what purpose we are using them, and depending upon the lifespan we can classify them also. So starting with the first classification, that is in which season they grow well. So we have two kinds of crops. One is the kharif crop, other is the rabi crop. See, kharif crops are called as the summer crops. They are called as summer crops, and rabi crops are called as winter crops. As they are sown in June, July, that when there is so much hot weather around, and they are harvested in September, October. But if you talk about rabi, they are sown in October, December, that is in the winter time, and they are harvested when the winter is just about to end, that is the March, April. It requires more water for their growth. They require comparatively less water. That is why they grow in winter season. Example, paddy. We know that paddy need much water. So that means because between these months there are rainy seasons as well. So that means they grow well because they need more water for their growth. And the rabi require less water, for example wheat. So this is how you are going to classify. So we have different crops depending upon the time of their sowing and harvesting. We classify them into kharif or rabi crop. Now moving on to the another classification, that is on the agriculture production, that what they are forming actually. So we have two kinds of crops. One is a cash crops and one we have is a food crops. Cash crops are those which are grown for the commercial value. That means they are actually being used in industries and all, like cotton, jute, sugar cane, cocoa. So they are actually being used in making any other items, like some is used in making nets, fabrics, and this way. But the one is the food crops. Food crops are those which are meant for the consumption. We are going to eat them, we are going to consume them in the form of food. For example, cereals, pulses, and also cereals, pulses, they are not used in making any any non-living thing. They are just used as a food because it provides us energy. Now moving on to the third classification, that is the lifespan. So depending upon the lifespan, we have three kinds. One is the annual crop, biennial crop, and perennial crop. Annual crop is one which complete life cycle in one season, or you can say in 1 year. So that means they need 1 year or one season to complete its complete lifespan. Example, paddy. Biennial, bi means 2, so they need minimum 2 years to complete their life cycle, or 2 seasons you can say, that is like carrot, radish. We have perennial also, which require more than 2 years for the completion of their life cycle, like mango, coffee. So this is how you are going to classify crops. So I think you are much aware of the introduction about this chapter, that what is in agriculture, what is crops, how you can classify the crop as kharif, rabi, or cash crop, or food crop, or biennial, perennial, or annual. So now we'll start further. So this is what is a basic intro about this chapter, what we are going to study here, but we'll go much deep into it, that what farmer actually do, or how, or what are the steps which are used in the agriculture practices and all. So this is very interesting chapter. We should know, like everybody should know about it, because the farmer is putting a lot of effort to plant crops, and as a result we get food which we need to survive.